All right, this is probably the earliest stream I've ever done. Don't even know if Dave is up yet. So this is for Dave, but also for anybody else. So yeah, I watched a cool video. Dave is mainly a hockey fan, but I know he likes baseball at least. He says he's a casual baseball fan. Plumped for the $20 for Out of the Park 24, which is on sale right now for the Steam sale. So I thought, so he mentioned on there about just some things that he wanted to get around. So I thought I would do a semi deep dive for Dave and anybody else. There's a lot to Out of the Park baseball, and I mean, Dave's a smart guy and everything like that, but. Certainly, but when you jump into this game for the first time, especially the newest edition, you don't have a lot of time, right? Or rather, you don't have a foundation to build on because it's very different than a lot of other text baseball sims. So I'm going to go through some things. I noticed that Dave was using FaceGen. I want to try to hopefully convert him and get him to use real player photos. I think they look a lot better. And Dave, all you have to do is look at the face gen for Hannes Wagner, and you'll agree. They have Hannes Wagner with a goatee. They're really, really fun. All right, so one of the nice things about Out of the Park Baseball is it will automatically save everything you're doing, so you can't really break it. But then there's the usual things, continue games, so that's usually what you've been playing last. So this, in my case, has been an all-time greatest. You can do a tutorial game. I don't really think you need it. New standard game. If you want to play right along with Major League Baseball 2023, you can play right along with the season. It's really cool the way it does it. Kind of the way you can play with live rosters in MLB The Show, for instance. Unlike other games like Digital Diamond, which also allow you to play with the season and things like that, there's no patching you have to do with this game. This keeps going. Hey, Big Clue. Morning. I'm feeling like crap, so my work wouldn't let me start this week because of a bad cold, so I guess I'm up for a while doing a little baseball. As I said, Dave Gardner did a great... this was his first time in Out of the Park 24, so this is for him and anybody else interested in the game. And again, for $20, or yeah, $20, $19.95 on the Steam sale, you can't go wrong with this thing. Exactly. So it's good to see you, my friend. All right, next one here is oh, hang on a second. Yeah, I hope I feel better too. Thank you. Hey, Joe, good to see you. Yes, I called in at work and I'm like, I feel like crap, but I don't want to miss my first day. And they're like, you can't come in. They said if you're sick, you're gonna be working with people. They said you can't come in until your system's cleared up. So probably won't be starting until next Tuesday or Tuesday after. So I thought I would do this for Dave. And then maybe crash a little. We'll be back with some baseball. I'm at least well enough to set up and do some baseball. All right. New historical game, just what it says in the tin. So this includes any historical season, 1871 to 2022. I'm going to hear sound cut out every once in a while. I don't want to cough bad in your ear. I mean, I've got it really bad. I'm like dizzy, the whole thing. This sucks. But, I wanted to give back. I mean, Dave's... a lot of Dave's latest streams and what he's been doing with Ron has really been a great reaching out to the community, which is something that the community has needed for a long time. So, I appreciate it. And he did mention my name. Oh, I got to get with Beatles in this. So I thought, why not be proactive and help? All right. So this is any historical season. What's nice about this is not just any major league season from 1871 to 2022, but this is also where you're going to get to play minor leagues, Negro League Baseball, and also KBO, the Korean leagues. I'm not interested in those. But for this is major league level, and then all the way down, Pacific Coast League, so AAA, AA, Single A, Rookie League, the whole thing. Custom game, this is the most powerful and the most confusing part of Out of the Park 24, so we'll get to that a little bit later. A quick start, these are basically quick starts to come with the game, so there's an all-time greatest, all-time great franchise, and we'll do a game here, by the way, because I want to show Dave some tips. So let me just show you what's in there. So you can, there's basically all-time greatest. There's the 1994 season. Promotion, don't know what that is, U.S. Baseball League. But what you could do is click on this all-time greatest, which you don't I already have it on here, so I'm not going to do that. And you can jump right into a game. I will tell you, you want to do some tweaking with this, but it's a lot of fun. I've been tweaking it, going along, and I'll maybe show a little bit of like roster movement and things like that. Okay, you can import a game from an earlier version. Super simple. Just before you uninstall Out of the Park 23, which was buggy. It was not their finest moment. This is their best version so far, and it's amazing. Really simple to import it. Finally, Historical Exhibition, and this is where you can replay any World Series, any two teams in history against one another at the Major League level, from 1901 to the present. You can also set up huge tournaments of up to 70 teams. So super powerful. But I think what we'll do to get started gently is I'm going to go ahead and continue this all-time greatest thing and show Dave a few things here and anybody else. So Joe, haven't seen you in a while, and big clue, maybe we'll hook up later if you're on Discord, man, and we'll just chat some baseball or whatever. Okay, so the first thing is when you're playing Out of the Park baseball, play as commissioner. Always play as commissioner. And the reason is that way you can switch around, manage any team, make roster moves thing. Yep. Alright, big clue says he's here all day. Yep. Good. If I have to go off for a few minutes, I am waiting for a call from another job and from my current job. So, but they said, nope, you can't come in. You can't come in. Alright. So to show you how to do that, if we go to game settings, alright, there's all this stuff here, and there is a lot of things going on here. Alright. So let me just show my settings first as we go along here. Alright, I put scouting report updates to rare. Most of the time, as you guys know on this channel, I do what ifs. I rarely do season replays. I do have one going on right now, 1934, but I still don't want to be bothered with scouting updates. It gets crazy. I know these teams well enough. So again, scout report history, I just keep it at 1 per season. I do keep all reports for the OSA report. Reports of retired players, I just delete that. I don't care. Again, it doesn't matter to me. And then incorporate stats and scouting reports, no, because again, I don't really use the scouting system, and this it is good, but I don't really think you really need it. Okay. Now this one here, player ratings. Now this has a number of different choices. So you're going to see a weird one down here, 20 to 80. That's what Major League Baseball uses. To me, it's weird. I guess if I was a baseball scout or whatever, it would make sense to me. I know that our Red Sox fan likes to use ratings from 1 to 10. I like to get really granular. I think 1 to 5, there's just not enough. I never ever use that. 1 to 100, I do like, because there is a big difference between a person whose speed rating is 75 and somebody who's 80. So I really like to get at a granular level. Again, these are just my settings. Your mileage may vary. I set them for ratings, their current rating scale, their potential ratings, and then other ratings, everything to 100. Stars, overall rating, that's just a nice graphical thing. Again, you can have non-displayed stars or values 20 to 80. I don't mess with that. I just leave it on stars. Really nice to see it. And again, potential. Okay. Show ratings, max. Yep. And then these are relative to Major League Baseball. I think most of us, unless you're Robbie Wartburg, you're just playing Major League Baseball in this. All right. If we go down here, these are pretty much all grayed out. I don't worry about this. I turn the coaching system off. You can use it. I never really have. Enable owner goals. This is really, I just leave this on, but this is only if you're playing the GM mode, which I don't. I don't use the GM mode. I don't really care about the price of beer, ticket prices, anything like that. I play this as a field management game. All right. Autosave once a year. You would set this for once a year in case you're doing one of the strong points about Out of the Park 24. Yeah, it does use 20 to 80. Baseball Mogul does. Yeah. It does use that. I think you can also use some other ratings in that as well. I don't play Baseball Mogul that much. I buy it every year, but I don't play it too much, just because it's hard to stream. It's really weird to stream. It's actually easier to do Diamond Mine. What you probably want to do here, I save box scores from all major leagues, generate games recaps, all major leagues, generate graphs for all major leagues. Again, I always save game logs, replays. Replays are really nice. So there's a couple things about Out of the Park Baseball that's really cool. Action PC, you can sort of look at plays and stuff on the chalkboard. But with this, you can actually watch a highlight reel, fully animated, and it will take you to key points of the game. You can actually go back and sit back if you wanted and watch a game. I think that would be more fun if this thing actually had an Ernie Harwell narrator, but it's still cool. Store plays, replays in pitch-by-pitch mode. Always do this in one-pitch mode. You don't want pitch-by-pitch mode because you'll be watching an entire Major League Baseball game. Generate highlights, all that stuff. I don't keep news logs, injury logs, transaction logs. Again, if you're a seasoned replayer, you might want to do this because you can play this with actual transactions and they will happen regardless of whether you're playing a GM or not. Okay? Enable storylines. Yeah, they're kind of fun. Go ahead and do that. I don't worry about the financial global coefficient. Again, that's if you're playing in a GM mode. Okay? So let's move over to player teams. Realism, always enable injuries. I really think you should do. And then you can set injury frequency to whatever you want. I just leave this at normal. And then delayed injury diagnosis occasionally. I like that one occasionally because you don't get a report right away. It's just nice occasionally to say, think about it for immersion. Yeah, the trainer right there still looking over whoever's hurt. Okay. Position player fatigue. I set this at average. This seems to work pretty well. Show player nicknames. Absolutely. I don't do the personality stuff. This does use a really cool personality and morale system that works with team chemistry. If you want to turn that on, go ahead. Again, I don't use it. I don't worry about aging or anything like that. This development, target age, aging, target age, I just leave this at default. And I do have disable player development, again, because of what I do. One of the strengths of Out of the Park Baseball over Action PC is this is really good in a career mode. It really, really is. Action PC, I think, shines as a single season replay, and this does well at that too. But if you uncheck this, then you're going to have player development going all the way through. Stat settings, again, I'm not going to go through everything here. Delete players who never reached majors, I don't check that. I just leave that alone. Keep career left and right stats, fielding stats, postseason stats. Again, I do just major leagues. I've never played minor league baseball on here. I probably never will. Now, that being said, hey, there's Dave. Can you see what the batter has done in the game? So here's the thing. That is a big knock against this one, Dave, and good morning to you. Unlike Action PC Baseball, the only way you're going to really see that is sometimes it will show at the bottom of the screen by the batter, and sometimes it's going to be in the play-by-play. But it won't always do that. So as you know, if I don't know if you play Action PC, but I know if you watch Ron Jockett play in it, or our Red Sox fan, or even me, you can mouse over and see all kinds of things. Out of the Park lacks that consistent thing, which I think is kind of a drag, especially if you're trying to stream the game. You've got to be watching the play-by-play and the action on the field, and so say Joe DiMaggio comes up, he's 1 for 2 today, and it will tell you like struck out, but you have to watch that play-by-play. I think that's a problem, and I wish Out of the Park, and a lot of people in the community, Dave, have been asking for that feature, and I don't see why it would be so hard to just code that in, because it does it sometimes. Just make it do it all the time. So that's a knock against it, my friend. All right, I really wouldn't worry about any of this reset stuff or anything like that. FaceGen, I do not use. I do not use at all. I hate it. Again, it's a neat idea, but again, pardon me, sorry guys, again, sick today. The reason I don't use it, as I said on the top of the broadcast, the face gen of Hannes Wagner shows him with a goatee. For newer players, it's pretty good, but I use actual player photos, and those are easily obtainable. If you have them for Action PC Baseball, they'll work in Out of the Park. Also, in the Out of the Park forums, there's a huge file with like 40,000 real players, and you get multiple versions of each. So, but for face gen, right, you can just do none. I mean, it's all players, but what I'm doing is I'm having it look for real real picks first. Okay, but if I do none, boom, I can just change that, and that's none. So we're okay there. But since you use it, I'm going to leave it on for right now, although you won't see it. Okay. Generate new picture players. Again, this is stuff I don't mess with. This is all has to do with face gen technology. All right. All of this stuff. So let's go to AI settings. Trading difficulty, you can choose to turn this on or off. I don't mess with it at all because I play in commissioner mode, so I don't worry about it. If you want to do it, you can. It depends on how much of a replay. And I know, Dave, you've said a number of times you're more of a casual baseball fan. And I'm a hardcore baseball fan. I just don't mess with this. I really, really don't. If you're using actual transactions in a replay, this is kind of meaningless. This is good for fictional leagues and things like that. Or if you want to play full-on general manager. Okay? This ratings weight stuff, again, I just leave everything at default. Almanac, this has to do with, this is kind of like the encyclopedia, if you will, in Action PC Baseball. I just leave everything, again, at default. So, and then there's all this database stuff. This is about the currently loaded game. So this is just this is more informational. Again, this is something, don't worry about it. I don't think you ever have to mess with this. There's other deeper things that you can do. Okay, now we go to the league settings here, and all these functions and everything. So you can import Major League rosters from a simple text file. So this is kind of neat, importing player stats. If you want to do that, again, I would say don't worry about it. There's a lot in this game you're not going to have to touch. Okay, this is again just showing what is right here. And again, God, I'm sorry, guys. Just give me a minute. This is the currently loaded season, so you can see here everybody. And you can go in, by the way, and change these nicknames. So let's say that you're playing with the 2022 Cleveland Guardians, and you don't like that name, you can actually change it to Indians in here. The only thing, unfortunately, if you want the original Indians logo, Cleveland Baseball Club has said, nope, can't do that, you can't do that. So that's hard-coded out. There's a way around it. Find an old version of the game, and you can have the Indians. I mean, as far as their logo goes, Chief Wahoo. Okay? Set up rules. Again, do you want the DH? So I have it set right now. DH in the American League, not in the National League. Get in here. I like the expanded roster size of 40 players when I'm playing with an all-time greats league. If it's a season replay, it's usually 25 players, and then 40 in September. Okay, financials. I'm not even going to touch financials. Okay, now we get into options. You can edit schedules in this thing. Do you want hitter of the year, pitcher of the year, reliever, rookie of the year, the fireman award? You can do that if you want. I don't do spring training. I turn it off. I do like to have an all-star game. Automatically schedule it. Okay. So there's that. Players. I'd leave this as is. Historical. Once again, you can recalc if you're doing a career mode, right? So if you're playing multiple seasons in a row, this is good because it will recalc after each year, recalculate their ratings. So if you're doing a single season replay, or you're doing a what if, this is really, really meaningless in my estimation. There's a number of databases in here. I really wouldn't worry about this right now. This is okay. And then finally down to stats and AI. This will give you the league totals. So if you're doing, like you were doing, I believe 1974, Dave, this would give you all those numbers for 1974, which is nice. And you can do normalizing and things like that here. Okay. Now, a couple other things to get into as far as other things that you might want to do. All right. The way I have my in-game graphics going and stuff like that, I keep the players at the default size. I know Al likes them a bit larger. I've noticed a lot of people do. I know that you tried it on the slightly slow setting for the graphics, probably Christopher Slovic or somebody. I used that, and that was actually a Christopher Slovic thing, and it's nice because it's realistic, but I do know that you said in your broadcast that you like things going quicker, so that's fine. But for the play-by-play, I have it set to fast, and it gets closer to syncing up what's going on in the field. Again, that's something that they're still trying to work on year by year by year by year. Okay? All right, now a couple other things that I have to show you. We'll actually start a new league, and then we'll get into a game. All right, so let's get back to the OOTP start screen. This thing automatically saves, which is really nice. Action PC does the same thing. It just doesn't tell you. It saves. So let's pick a season. I forget who your favorite team is, Dave. I know it's not the Red Sox. I don't think it's the Red Sox. I thought you were a big Montreal fan. Can't remember. But let's just do a straight-up historical game. Challenge mode is, again, I wouldn't worry about it. Just click no thanks. Okay. Now, you can select a path to a database. Again, there's a number of databases. I would just leave this alone. Single season replay, or if you want to do career play, make sure you set that there. Okay. Import real life lefty-righty splits. Because now you get back to older baseball. You'll have this. So import complete history, I always do, because it gives you context with these players. If you're playing in an era where the Negro Leagues existed, use that. I usually sometimes for the minor leagues, I will do this as well. So let's pick by era, and since most folks in this channel are in the 70s, 80s baseball, let's pick something from the 70s. And since you were doing the A's, I'm going to go back and do 1972. Okay? And we'll go ahead and do these. Do not do random players from all eras instead of real rosters. It's fun, but for a replay, obviously this is not what you want to do. Okay? Alright, so everything else you can leave as is. And let's go to next step. And I like the little recap that it gives you too. There's a lot of window dressing in this game too. And I mean, for $20, what a value. And it's loading in lots of stuff right here, so kind of have to give it a moment. And you do have that stadium mod I've seen. So what's nice about that stadium mod is not only do you get the proper ballparks, but as you mentioned, the proper logos. It's just done for you. And now here's the player import, and again, it's doing the complete history of baseball up to 1972 and all minor leagues from 1915 to now. And Negro leagues as well, although in 1972 you're not going to use those. But those are, unfortunately, when this game was created, Major League Baseball hadn't yet recognized the Negro Leagues as actual major leagues. They are now, but if you want to do a Negro League season, you have to play them as a minor league. And that goes with some of the other alternate major leagues as well, so American Association, things like that. You would actually play those as minor leagues. Marcus Heinsohn was asked about that, and he said that they would actually have to recode the game from the ground up to be able to do to play Negro League baseball as selected as a major league. But that's one of the things that throws people off. Though, is like, well, I'd like to play the 1940 Pacific Coast League season. Just select them from the farm system that you're doing, and you can play. And it also assigns proper logos that way too, which is really nice for the minor leagues. So again, for immersion. And this is where we sing a song or have Big Clue hold forth on something. So we'll do a little bit of this, and then the last thing I want to show really for this, and then if Dave has questions, if he puts them in the comments in this video or what have you, or answer them in real time, I will do my best. As Johnny Logan says, I will perish this trophy forever. So the little quotes are fun too. So now the minor leagues are coming in and calculating player ratings. So setting up tournaments in this thing is super easy. Replaying a World Series is super easy. Just pitting two teams against one another. Any two teams in baseball, super easy. Joe Murray. So the AA became minor leagues at some point. Not certain of that one. So it was Branch Rickey, Joe, that began the idea of go over the name change. You don't want stupid Guardians in 1974. I'll definitely do that for you, Dave. Definitely do that for you. So Joe, so there were minor leagues, if you will, before Branch Rickey. Okay, so but they weren't affiliated farm teams at all, and you had different. Baseball is classified differently. You had Class A, B, C, D. I mean, you went to D ball, you were pretty much done, right? Even Class C. But that classification, AA, AAA, single season rookie, whatever, the short season, like the New York Penn League, for instance, that all kind of evolved out of Branch Rickey's idea to create what he called a farm system. And some other major league owners were pretty incredulous at that. And then Branch Rickey built those amazing 1930s Cardinals teams, the Gas House Gang teams, from affiliated farm systems. And then everybody jumped on the bandwagon. All right. Since we're doing this, I would say use real historical transactions and real historical lineups. Okay. You can also require it to have full minor league rosters. Okay, and then also make sure that you do block fictional players from reaching the majors. Okay, again, now we're just setting up for a season replay. Okay, go to our next step. You don't have to really mess with advanced mode. Let's go to next step. So you can just leave this alone, but for this, if you're using the Stadium mod, this has to be checked. Enable automatic import of financial for whatever. This has to be. For whatever reason, has to be there. Click next step. Use scouting, no, and again, we're setting up our 1 to 100 for each of these. Again, your mileage may vary. I tend to like, again, as I said, the granularity. I don't want fictional pictures. Dave, since you use Face Gen, you would do all players or Major League players only. But I don't want fictional pictures. Okay, so no fictional pictures for coaches. And then the Face Gen color mode is just normal. You can leave that alone. Let's go to the next step. All right. Put in your name in here, and it'll automatically have the birth date or whatever. Okay, the two things, first up here, let's say 1972 A's replay. Whatever you want to call it. Doesn't matter. Okay. There's A's replay. Ass. Come on. Didn't it like the... Don't you like apostrophes? Don't be an Egypt. Must be a German thing. I don't know. Let's try this again. Nope, doesn't like that. That's okay. That's alright. Come on, you. 1972 Oakland is good enough. Okay. Autosave once a year. You can be GM and manager or just manager. I leave it at GM and manager. Do not use this. I really don't think it's worth it. This is important. If you want to be able to go around and tweak rosters and sort of manage other teams, play in commissioner mode. Do you want to do cannot be fired? You can do that. Because you can get fired in this game. But so, boop, no, I can't. But the commissioner mode's the really, really important one. And hey, you could be gender neutral now. Pfft, I can't believe it. Anyhow, don't get me started on that. You guys know I'm a liberal, but there's certain lines I'm like, okay, come on, this is bullshit. All right, let's get this going here. Well, it's true, man. I mean, I am so liberal, but sorry, it's a biological issue. And I guess if you're neutral, does that mean you've been castrated? Well, even if you've been castrated, you still have whatever. All right, so we'll just be the Oakland A's. Doesn't matter at this point. But check this out. You can, let's go to Pacific Coast League we were talking about. There they are. With their proper logos. How cool is that? Pioneer League. God, I don't even know what that is. This must be like sort of, I guess, rookie league stuff. You want to play A-ball? You can play A-ball. Doesn't matter. And of course, there's AAA. Yay, AAA. All right, but we're going to go to Major League Baseball, and we want the Oakland Athletics, and we're going to start the game. Okay. And then we'll go through these settings. It is a bit more to set up, a tiny bit more to set up a replay than, say, like Action PC Baseball. But in Action PC Baseball, you have to execute availability tools and clear injuries and things like that. So this one takes a little bit longer, but not much. Because there's more going on. And when we get to the BNN page, when I get back to that all-time greatest, you'll see. And Dave, you probably already saw that video anyhow. And that's something that is super deep, kind of like you want to track how somebody's been doing through the season. You got it. And I think another advantage for this game, and again, Action PC is my favorite baseball sim, is that you can access everything from in-game. Its big knock is, yeah, you don't always know what the hitter did last time up, which kind of sucks. And there's a way to do it. Okay, so we're now on the Oakland A's screen, and you know, we're going to look at. I'm not going to worry about staff vacancies, anything like that. So let's go to game settings, and I believe it's league settings. Is it historical? Where the hell is it? Options. This is all over the place. I need to find that thing that exactly you're looking for. So just give me a second here, because there, right here, Dave. So when you go to league settings, leagues and teams, Cleveland Guardians. Well, we know they weren't that. So now they're the Cleveland Indians. It's that simple. Okay? Now, I don't know whether the modders, and this is a mod, the stadium mod, whether or not they were, you know, this was hard-coded out as far as, like, the stadiums. I don't think they are. Okay. So we've done that, and now we can review staff vacancies if we want. I don't configure anything. You can. Don't really care about this stuff. Let's go back home here on the A's. And again, Dave, I don't know if the A's, what team you like, so. Worldsource Gamer says, hey guys, still wishing I'd see a way to set pictures to be pulled after a certain amount of runs have been given up. Didn't see that in the version you looked at. Ah, well. Okay, yeah, you can actually get that deep. And I'll show you. Alright, so we can meet the team. And anything is clickable here, so I can look at Ken Holtzman, what have you. But this is, you know, again, this you're going to know. Team chemistry, wouldn't worry about that. Do you want to change their name to the A's as opposed to Athletics? Whatever. Owner name, none of this stuff I worry about. Alright, now, Let's go to pitching. Okay. So usage options. This is where I think what you're looking for. Okay. Usage option, and for each player, you have to get down to the player level, World's Worst Gamer, to set when he's going to get yanked, if you want to get that deep. But you can get pretty much what you want, I think, from here. Okay, by going to the strategy, hook starting pitchers, quick, slow. It's kind of the same that you're going to find in just about any other baseball game. But you can actually go as deep as you want. You can also go to strategy presets. So you want to set this, if this was a dead ball era, go to small ball. That transition period when Babe Ruth started, moderate small ball. This also works well for 19th century. You want to do sabermetric, whatever. You can also import strategies from files if you want. And we'll just leave that alone. But if I do strategy presets, let's say modern sabermetric, this will set the desire to all times and situations. There. Now this is set for sabermetrics. Okay? And you can already see a big change there, right? Stealing is down a little bit. Sack bunts are down. If I go to small ball, however, look at this. Now you're going to, look, frequently stealing bases. Aggressive base running. So this is nice, these presets, and you can tweak them. And then traditional is kind of just what it says in the tin. It's traditional. Okay? Player strategy, pick any player that you want. So if we go to Catfish Hunter, okay, we go into Hunter's bit, and this is how what you're gonna deal with for him. Are you gonna be quick or slow? Right, to hook him as a starter, as a reliever, pitch around. Okay, then down here, pitching limits. You can set pitching limits. If you want to do pitch count, batters faced, you can force him into as a starter, reliever, or closer. And then starting pitcher, bench when fatigue percent. So whatever his fatigue is. So for what you're looking for, you're going to have to get a little deeper for each player. Unfortunately, I guess. But you can go into all this stuff here. Again, this isn't, the BNN page isn't going to show a lot yet. Not going to show a lot yet, but as you're playing, this will start to fill out, and you will get like way more reports than you wanted to. I can look at any player's past season, and that will bring up that team. So I can see, for instance, how Hunter did on the 1965 Kansas City A's, for instance, because I've imported that whole thing. So kind of nice to look around. It's a very, very sort of organic thing. Okay. If we go up to real life stats, there's the player's entire career, but you can get neutralized batting and neutralized pitching as it goes along. Hang on a second. All right. You want to edit anything in the with the player? Here you go. You can edit anything you want. You can create players in this game. If I wanted to create Robbie Wartburg, I could. And I can make him from, you know what, Azerbaijan? Is Azerbaijan in here? I don't know. I always like Azerbaijan to joke around with that, but we can make him, yeah, there it is. So we can make Robbie an American Samoan if we wanted, whatever. Okay? Lots of actions to deal with here. You can also compare players. And I can select a player and select him, you know, against other players or whatever. So you can do a player-by-player comparison, compare pitching ratings, all that kind of stuff. Okay? There's really, really a lot in this game. Do your player search here, and it's going to build this, and then you've got, this is it. This is everybody in 1970, what did I pick here, 1972? And you can just do a player search up here. So, what? If I'd learn how to spell. Okay, doing a search on Willie Stargell. There he is. And that's it. And then there's their minor league system, what have you. Okay, going across here, again, you can change options, anything like that. This is down into your manager's office, so we can autoplay until the next game, which is going to be against Cleveland. Proper logo. Okay. What else do I want to show you here? News and mail, notes, history, your manager options. Again, you've already set this. Setting lineups and depth charts. This is going to be you. You can also set it to have bench coaches do all this stuff. But don't worry about this, because you can just set everything to AI if you want. And you can have AI manage both teams, which is really nice if you're streaming this game and you don't feel like managing. This is manager and GM, and remember, it cannot be fired. Play in commissioner mode. I can't stress this enough. Really play in commissioner mode. You have a lot more fun with this game when you do. Okay. Let's go to GM and manager activities. You can manage your pitching staff, set up lineups. Visit depth charts overview. So there's a nice depth chart for you. And what's nice in depth charts, and I know I'm probably going way deeper than Dave probably even wanted me to go, you can change. So Reggie Jackson is going to get the start. We got Joe Rudy, Reggie Jackson, Angel Miguel, right? But you're going to start Kurt Blefary. Maybe you want to give somebody a little bit more time. So let's say we want to give Blefary a little bit more love out there. Every fifth game, we can have Blefary pitch or start every fifth game or every fourth game, just to give this right fielder a break. And you can do this all the way around. You can change the order of your pinch hitters. So essentially, it's as deep as you want to go. Okay, your depth chart is going to be versus righties versus lefties. Daily lineups. This is, again, we see a lot of off days here, but daily lineups are just the same thing as you find in Action PC Baseball. And here's your basic lineups versus lefties versus righties. And you can see Sal Bando's batting in the 6th slot versus lefties. But you see here he's batting 5th against righties. You can drag, drop everything, change positions, what have you. You can go to, again, we already talked about strategy. Okay? Look at the team schedule. Looks like we're going to start... oh, I'm sorry. See, I'm blind. Yeah. We're going to start against the Twins. But let's make sure this took the Cleveland Indians. Okay? And indeed it did. There you go. It's the Cleveland Indians. It is not the Cleveland Guardians. So hopefully that helps. So there's a way around the Guardians thing. In fact, let's do this too. If you want to switch, right now, even though I'm looking at the Cleveland Indians, when you see this little caret pointing down, I can look at any team. There, I can look at the Cubs, whatever. I can look at the Cubs strategy, anything like that. But if you actually want to, if I were to do continue finish today, it's still right here. This tells you what team you are, the Athletics. You want to change it? Just go down here and go to Act As, click, pick one of the other clubs. So I do think that Dave's in Montreal, but we're going to do Cleveland. Now, here it says Cleveland Guardians. Don't let that mess you up. Okay. It says acting as a manager does not take away the computer control of the team. It's for temporary control. All right. So there we go. So I'm acting as the Indians, team home screen, and they're called the Cleveland Indians. And I can do all that stuff. And I can play whatever they're playing. So there again, there's the Portland Beavers, Elmira Pioneers, Reno Silver Sox, and the GCL Guardians. Remember, these are the minor league teams for that year, 1972. Okay. It's finished today, even though we're doing an Oakland replay. And we'll just do the Indians because we want to see what this looks like, in case we have to fix the park. Yes, you can. Yeah, so World's Worst Gamer says I like how you can add notes to box scores, and I believe in other areas of the game. Yep, and you can rewrite the you can do rewrite the recaps if you want. And all the widgets, everything here, I'll show you guys after this is loading in. This is customizable, everything. So if you want certain information elsewhere, I'll show you how to do that. Real nice. And once you get to be a real pro at this game, which I'm not, you can actually use all these. So you have a double menu system here, kind of like you have an Action PC where you have the smaller menu system and then the big red buttons. There's a lot going on in this game. And I've mentioned so much about how it's polarized, and I've heard some people call it a lightweight baseball sim. There's nothing lightweight about this thing at all. I could go a lot deeper, but I think that would be overload. But we've barely scratched the surface of what you can do in this game. This uses actual Major League schedules and everything. It's really cool. But I can see some baseball grognards, right, getting deep into this thing and managing each player. Hey, there's Bernard. How you doing, Bernard? But once you get used to this game, it's really actually easy to navigate. It looks harder than Action PC, but it's really not. It's really not. There's some things it could do better. It's not perfect. I don't think there's any perfect sports sims. Okay, personal message, blah, 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 blah. Okay, don't really care about that. And don't really care about that. And we're going to finish today. And then we should be getting ready now to actually play a game. Not that we're going to do a whole game, but there you go. Alright, let's see. Let's go play, and we're just going to go right to the Brewers. And this will be 15 April 1972. And I do like the fact that you can change the name of the Indians. The only thing you're ever going to have a problem with that is if you're using Jacobs Field or Progressive Field, whichever you want to call it. There's an alternate one that you can use, or just use Old Municipal Stadium, and then you're not going to see that. Okay, please go to. I'm not going to worry about that. Okay, so Indians. Play. Okay, we don't have it, so we're just going to keep going with this. Yeah, just keep going with this. And again, this is what I don't usually. This looks like this is something that has come up again. We will get into this because I did not run into this with the 1934 replay, and I think it's because. So the Oakland A's have a player designated for assignment whose DFA time runs out today. He must be assigned to release. Please go to the team transaction screen, select the waivers and DFA area, and handle the situation. I think I'm going to change that up so I don't have to play with it. Okay, so let's fix that. And I think I'm just going to go to manager. There we go. And we will let that do this. Hopefully that will fix it. Ugh. This is a bug that's returned, it looks like, I'm afraid. And I've only run into this in I don't even know if this is this isn't even a, oh, and I wanted to be able to show you this. I'm gonna have to show you this in the let's go back to the start screen and let me show you this with the 1934, because there was something I think I set up here that I was GM and manager, so give me one sec. But at least now you know how to change it from Guardians to Indians, and you've seen pretty deeply what this game can do. But now we'll go to 1934, since that's a project I'm doing. Okay, let's load a game here. So there is a workaround for that weird message that I've gotten. So the next time I do Out of the Park Baseball, I'll show you the workaround for that player that has this designated for assignment. Okay, so here we are. And this is set as the New York Giants right now. Let's go back to the St. Louis Cardinals. Okay, and you know you've changed it when it goes up to here and to here. So we're going to play game versus the Pirates. Okay, these are the proper logos for the time. So this is what the Pirates, their logo in 1934, and the Cardinals in 1934. Set everything to human control or to AI. So the AI is going to just manage both. I know that when Dave was playing last night, he was managing, I believe, Montreal or Oakland, and you can, and there's a ton of managerial options. So maybe I'll show you those for right now, actually, for the Cardinals. Okay, let's start. Hey, Clinton. Good to see you. Up here you can change your camera views. So there we go. Nice little bit of Sportsman's Park. I like to keep them all the same. You don't have to. The other thing is you can put to track the ball or what have you. All right. So obviously as base situations, as game situations change, more of these things are going to get lit up. Again, when I'm online, I usually only play this AI versus AI. So leading off here, Lloyd Wainer. And we get our little spin around, of course, of Sportsman's Park. Which Dave said a little dizzy here, which is kind of fun. All right, and lofted to left, and foul ground diving catch. Nice. Jack Rothrock making the catch. Now we can move ahead in this game too if we want. We'll go ahead and pitch to Lindstrom here. Trying to get a batter aboard, hopefully. So there we go. Thank you, Pirates. Appreciate it. Now you can see there's more going on here. So, oops. All right. Anyhow, sorry. You can intentionally hit the batter, and I love this. You can also choose to throw to first, but let's say you've got more than one runner on. You can choose which base you want to throw to. Bam, it's right there. There's your visit mound. Setting your infield and outfield, right? And yes, the shift still exists in this game, which is really, really nice. So, yay, it's there, right? If I don't want to hold Lindstrom, just do that. And now he's not being held. But of course I will. All right. So those are the managerial things that you can do. It shows you the last pitch, the type and velocity. But I'm going to go ahead and change this back to AI. So you don't have to worry about all that. Anything you want to go into, you can read right here, get into. All right. So, and now you do is press the continue button. And there's also... Right, well, actually, this season has. I think we're 4 games into it. There's also uniform mod, if you guys see in here, and I'll show you that, because these guys are wearing like the high stirrups. That's another mod that you can get from the Steam Workshop, which is really nice. You want to look at any play closer. Get down here to. You can do a regular replay, right? See the thing again. Whole field option. And again, I have the play-by-play fast and the on-field action, I believe, set at slightly slow. But again, I know Dave likes it going a little bit faster. So I have the play-by-speed at fast, and where is it? Game options. And then I have this set on the 3D animation speed at slow. This was Christopher Slovic made the suggestion, and actually it looks more realistic. You can change the size of the hitters, players, to be really large if you want. All right, then you just press the button, and boom, base hit up the middle. And if I want to look at that a little bit closer, I can. I can just go to Super Stats Replay, and now it's going to actually get down to the field level, show you where the ball is. So there might be, and there you can see their high stirrups and stuff like that, and boom. It's a pretty nice little baseball game. Now, if I want a quick play, I can go to the 5th inning. Now we're tied up at 3. Hitters up here, so we got this Ralph Burkhofer. I want to see what his tendencies are on the infield to hit. Hit the F8 key. There you go. Nice little graphic there for you. The other thing is I can look at Burkhofer if you want to get, again, really into it. I can look at his player page, and this is tracking. This will track everything. And I picked a bad batter here, obviously, because I guess this is his first time up, or whatever. But this game log will show, and I should probably pick somebody who has a better game log here, so I can show you. This will show you, of course, his streaks, if he has any, what have you, return to the game. Because this will also show you, I want to find this, where, let's look at Frankie Frisch. Now we can look, this is what Frankie Frisch has done in all the games thus far in this replay. And you can see how did he do when the count is 2-0, 2-1, 2-2, when he's ahead a count. You can get deep if you're a stats freak. This is a great page. This is a really, really great page. Profile ratings, stats, I'm trying to find his spray chart, because you can look at that as well, which is neat. Really, really kind of neat. Guess it's hiding from me today. There it is. So this will track every hit that the player's done, and you just click on any of these dots and you can see what this was. So this was a fly out right field, and it shows the exit velocity. And this will fill up, and so you can look at hitter tendencies. So we can see here that Frisch is mainly going to be going up the middle, but he can kind of go all over the place. If this is Babe Ruth, of course you're going to see more over here, whatever. Do you want, do you need this much information? It's there, is the way I would put it. Okay. Streaks, he has a 2-game hitting streak right now. You can do on base, extra base hits, consecutive hits, what have you. It's all in here. And then just easily back to the game. To get this information in Action PC Baseball, you have to kind of do a little bit of weirding around. Alright, so whoever Ralph Burkhofer is, here we go. Here's the wind and the pitch. Burkhofer swings. This one, base it up the middle. So Pittsburgh picks up its 9th base hit. Okay. Look at the game log that's going on as it's playing. Here's the entire game log up to the inning that we selected. Okay. Network's really nice. So Action PC Baseball has a little 10-minute ticker. This has what's going on at the same time, and we can see that a couple games have been played. Box scores that's going along. Just a nice looking game. This is where you do substitutions. And then back to game action. We're not going to play out a whole game here. So let's do until runner in scoring position. Little tip here, if you play in pitch by pitch mode, you will get balls that will actually foul out of the park. If you play in a bat mode, they won't. So if you see something that's going foul, it's going to be caught. Okay. Let's just go to the 9th. And this one's still 3-3. Damn. Pirates are tough. Let's just complete the game so I can show you. Yep. Let's see who won. Ah, the Pirates. Look at this, man. They're off to 2-1, and the world champion Cardinals 1-2. There's this really nice recap, which you can edit. Lots going on here. Just traditional box score. And again, from here, I can click on any player. Everything is content sensitive. In Action PC Baseball, that's not the case in these recaps. So I can't just bring up Frankie Frisch and look at him. Can't do it. So, and return to game, leave in case you mess up. Oh, look, we're a hit machine. I don't know what else. I mean, there's so much more to show you, but I don't want to go into, just crazy depth with this. But Dave, I hope this helps you a little bit. And from the MLB, if we go to League Home, we can get. Look, we see that Lou Gehrig hit home run number 300. There's a nice little ticker going along the bottom here. Select any of these games. Look at them. Right? And then up here, this is like a browser. Just click this button, and we're going to go back to the previous page we were on. Okay. I want to see the standings in the league all at once. There they are. But there's a better way to see the standings. This is showing National League, American League, and there's Al's Red Sox. They're in first place, and Clinton's Red Sox. You can do leaderboards. These are combined. Maybe I just want to look at the National League. Now it's just going to show just National League leaderboards. I like to leave it on both. If we go to scores, this is one of the really neat versions of this game. I can look at an entire replay of the game that we played, or I'm looking at say the Red Sox and Senators. Okay, there's a 6-0 game. Whatever. I can look at a replay, just a highlight reel, box score, game log for anything, any of these games. So, and I didn't set this up for this league. But you have to just set this up: global settings, autosave, and log settings. So go up here, and you would just switch this in global settings right here, which I didn't do for this. Keep news logs and all this kind of stuff. Okay. Hopefully this was helpful. It's got a great online manual to it. Things like that, so yeah, you might want to look at it. Check it out. Yeah, exit velocity, I do. Is there a way to turn off CPU to CPU trades? Yeah, disable trading. When you're setting up a league, just disable tradings. That's all you have to do. But when you're doing a season replay, just remember that if you selected as played, using real historical transactions, those will happen regardless. So you would have to make sure that you've disabled those. Okay. For season replays, I leave them on, which is weird. I know I'm the guy that likes to do the what ifs, but if I'm doing a season replay, I do like to use actual transactions. But you can easily turn those off. Really, the trick with this game is just getting to know all the options. Once you're good at setting up options and go in and play around with it, you will find that this is really, 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 really simple. Okay? Again, if you think of any questions that you have about this game, I'll be certainly glad, because we've been going an hour now. I'll be certainly glad to answer whatever questions I can. And if I don't know the answer, I definitely will definitely find the answer for you. Ballparks, once again, I think we should go back. So let's go to the St. Louis Cardinals, team home screen. And let's say I want to switch this. Just because this is the one that messes everybody up, is doing ballparks. So when you first go to this, if you see Citizens Bank Park, then you know this. We know this park's ready to play because we just played a game in it. But if you see Citizens Bank Ballpark, unless you're using Citizens Bank Ballpark, you're not ready to go because this is the park effect file, right? So first thing, of course, is your 3D model. Though for 1934, I don't think I want to change this, but I can. I can load 3D model. If it's a POD file, guys, remember that's one of the ballparks that comes with Out of the Park, right? That's the 30 parks that come with it. There's like 30 odd parks, I think, right? So there's Comerica, right? But if I go down here, I'm going to see different versions of Sportsman's Park, since this is what we're playing in right now. So there we go. If I pick Sportsman's Park, 1954 to 65, it's going to look different. 26 to 53, and this goes back to Sportsman's Park 1901. And I'll just show you. Object file, load. And it will take a second. There you go. Very different Sportsman's Park. Tweed drivel. Aren't you nice? Aren't you nice? Big clue. Yeah, I'd love to. I do want to get Super Mega Baseball 4, but gotta hang on, I think. Anyhow, I don't want this older Sportsman's Park because we're not playing in this time period. So let's load the 3D model back again. And bring back Sportsman's Park to the 1934, or what it was like then. Sportsman's Park, there we go, 1926 to 53. Select object OBJ. Any park with an OBJ is part of that stadium mod. And there we go, we're back to the way it looked. Then what you want to do is you go to pictures and coordinates, and then when you go to actions, if this was Citizens Bank Park, then what you do is just click manually import data from file into this park. You click that, and I showed that in a video the other night. And then once the proper park comes up, it's ready to play. Yeah, we're not all loaded like MV. Yeah. I do want to get Super Mega Baseball 4, but with being ill today, now it looks like I'm going to have a little later start to my job, probably now the 11th. So I'm going to have to hang tight. So that does it for this Out of the Park thingy. We'll just talk for a few more minutes. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate. Put them in the comments. Hit me up during a broadcast. And as I said, if I don't know the answer, I will find it for you. Yeah, right? He's going on holiday to London, and good on him. Good old Mousy Dread, huh? Guys, don't sleep on this. Unless you're Clinton and Ken, and you're strictly cards and dice. But for $20, and again, I've hardly touched anything in this game. God, there's so much going on. So much going on. Get as deep as you want. So if I had transactions turned on, then I would be able, and we've just started the season, so I'd be able to click on any of these, and I would have those. I can select reports. I can look at basic batting stats without splits. I can do expanded. I can do splits. Look at this: versus left, versus right. This week, last week, every month. In spring training, exhibitions, postseason last year, 2 years ago, career, home, road, grass, turf, day, night. Look how long this list goes. I can look at batting stats with a count of 1 and 2. That are expanded stats. Hey, Gary. Welcome in. So, you can play this game as deeply or as shallow as you want. I think for hardcore stat heads, I think this is great stuff though. Maybe not expanded. Let's do basic. And of course there were only grass ballparks then. So let's see. How about stats just for innings 1 to 3rd and splits, or innings 1 to 3? There you go. And it tracks all this. And I don't even think Action PC. Steve Tate might know better. I don't think as deep as it goes. I don't think it gives you this. It may. I don't know. I don't think so though. R100 Action PC Baseball is your favorite. I think this does compare. Action PC is my favorite as well, but this game gets bum raps as not being deep, or it's just a financial sim. I've never ever played with financials in this game, ever. For me, Action PC gets the nod for working at the player level. Super easy. This one is a bear to work with at the player level. At the team level, super easy. Look. Show you. Let's go back to this out of the park start screen. So, respectfully, I'm disagreeing with you, Arnold. I mean, this definitely compares, and it's very, very close. And I think this is if you could afford 2, and right now this is $20 with everything. This is every baseball season, Major League, Minor League, Negro Leagues, what have you, for $20 right now. If you sleep on this, you do so. You know, I think you're missing a great one. Action PC is more of an investment, but it's a great game. It is my favorite game. But let's do this setting up custom games. This is something that's very similar that you will find in Action PC Baseball. So we're going to do fictional, but we're actually going to use real players. Okay. All this does here is just a repeat of doing a season replay. Okay. Let's just go to fictional. All right. And we can set this up here. Maybe I don't want any division. Just one division. And I want this division to have 8 teams. I think you know where I'm going with this. And then I just want one. This is how to set up for an old-timey, the original 16. Okay. And then, boom. This is where the real power, I think, in this game opens up. Now, you'll notice right here that I have fictional teams. And from here, I can do an inaugural fantasy draft if I want, just like we do in Action PC Baseball. Or I can switch to historical team selection. And now I can pick any of these teams. And these go from 1871 to 2020 to the last season, I believe. Yep, to 2022. I can pick any number of teams. I can set this up. Huge league, small league, the original 16, however I want to do this. Yeah, I know that Action PC does have that. This is more of a yeah. Gary doesn't use financials out of the park either. Never touched them. I wish it had that too, World's Worst Gamer. Which is why I say these two games balance each other really, really nicely. They really do. And I don't think I have to go through this whole thing, but National League should always be first anyhow, right? As I've just honked off half the American League folks in here. You don't have to give it a division name if you don't want. Bam. So let's throw some teams in here, man. Something from the original 16, but how about these 1978 or 1971 Pittsburgh Pirates? That simple, and just go all the way through here and put all your teams in that you want. And this will play out as a season. Okay, difference between this and that, this is super powerful, is, let's go back to, there we go, is historical exhibition. If I want to replay a World Series in Action PC Baseball, I have to set up, I have to create an empty blank league, step one, and then bring in the teams. For this, I can, right, this is for tournaments or for World Series or any two teams in history against one another, right? Select the number I want up here, right? So we're just going to leave this at 2. And right here, this is how fast it is to do a World Series, okay? So, 2016, there it is. With a nice little, and you can change this up too. You want to mess with the World Series? You want to make it 9 games? Oh, a 9-game World Series? Go ahead, do it. Have fun. You can change all kinds of stuff in this. Game era and strategy, you can default. You want an active roster limit on these things. Injuries enabled, disabled. But anyhow, I've done this and create exhibition. Whereas with Action PC Baseball, I have to go in and I have to make sure I have that season installed to set up that World Series. But right now, this 2016 World Series is ready to go. I can go through lineups, look at the rosters, set rotations. So here we can look. We have Kluber, Salazar, Bauer, Tomlin, and again we're looking at Cleveland. We can look then at the Cubs. Same thing. Rotate or Hendricks, Jake Arrieta, John Lester, John Lackey. And then, when this is done, play ball. It's that simple. And proper logos. So this 2016, which I'm not going to do now because Robert's doing a 2016 replay, but the 2016 World Series is ready to play. I think it's faster. So I could run through the same steps in Action PC, but I don't think I need to do that. So I'm going to delete this. So let's go back to the start screen because I should have picked another World Series, I guess. When you load a game, this is a nice addition they've finally done, is a way to delete a game without loading it first. If I go to Historical Exhibition, I see it's 2016. All I have to do is delete it, and it's gone. Boom. There. I have a 19. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this too because I'm not really interested in doing 1972. Here's the 1971 World Series. It's set to go. So yeah, Arnold. I mean, it's not a right or wrong which game is better or which game is worse. I think these two are king of the hill. With that being said, I love Diamond Mind and I love Baseball for Windows. But for value, there's nothing that can beat this game. I don't care. Because Digital Diamond is a bitch to work with as far as libraries go. It's just a lot harder than this one. This one has much nicer graphics. It has excellent play-by-play. Action PC has so much to speak for it too. I love it. I love them both. Yeah, so Gary says he doesn't feel that Out of the Park is complicated, just a bit overwhelming because there's so many options. Yep, probably use about 10% of what it offers. Create a league, manage roster barely, and play watch games. Same here, pretty much. That's it. That is it. But with all these options, which I totally agree with you, Gary, let's just, to end this out, let me bring up Action PC Baseball for a minute. And we're going to do a World Series in that. Okay. So what I want to do here is I can create a league right here. Okay, so teams. If I want to import teams, first thing I have to do is I have to make sure that I have the season installed. All right. So here's 1929, and I'm going to import Philadelphia and Chicago. So there's Chicago, and there's Philadelphia, and I've got to import them. Okay, and then Chicago, I'm going to just drag down to here. Actually, these are both in the same league, so. So I can move these all over the place, but we'll just leave Chicago where it is. Okay, click exit and exit. Now I've got Chicago and Philadelphia, but I still can't do this as a World Series yet because I have to set this up as a season. So then I've got to go in and actually create the schedule for this. Then after I create the schedule, make sure the proper ballparks are assigned, then I can replay the 1929 World Series between the Cubs and the A's. Yeah, Joe, I thought you were on our Discord. I see you use, okay, yeah, see, I don't use FaceGen at all. World Source Gamer likes it. Yeah. I've never seen, like, let me exit this, and now I have another thing that I'm never going to use. But there it is. So, the last thing to finish this up would be I have to create the schedule. So, we could do that, although I've done the 1929 series on here before. Schedule, and you got to set up the schedule by hand. I don't remember when the 1929 World Series started, so we'll just say October 1st. This is a little bit tricky. It's not series length. I don't even remember where the World Series started, but that's easy enough to do that. Visitor home, and then, right, so I'm adding that series. Then I've got to go here, and I'm going to leave this the same. Okay. Then I'm going to go to, we're going to allow for an off day for travel. Go back to Friday, this, and now I'm going to switch them. And you can see here that there's our off day, and then we're back to this and this. Now we have 2, 2, and then, or 2, 3, and 2. So we'll play a Sunday game, which I don't know if they actually did then. And then we'll allow the 7th for a travel day, and then the last 2 games. Select Philadelphia as visitor, Chicago home, add series, and save. And then there's our World Series. 2, 3, and 2. That's a lot of steps. Not sure why you should upgrade to Out of the Park. More rare plays, much better animation. The graphics have been tarted up, especially with the ballparks that come with the game. Better trading models. It's a better game. But if you're not going to get into Out of the Park 20 or Out of the Park 24 that deeply, Out of the Park 21 will do just fine. And you don't have to worry about the Cleveland Indians workaround. It's just in there because they weren't the Guardians yet. But the other thing, too, about this is I've got to make sure, and just because of what we've been playing, I've got to make sure that the ballparks are all set up, and if I want to set the logos and everything. It's just a little bit more intensive to do the 1929 World Series. Click on this, right? And World Series. I mean, again, how many times are people doing this kind of stuff? I don't know. And then I can just exit, and that becomes the 1929 World Series. Right? I can look at, even though I was working in the active database of 1970s, this is everybody. I can normalize, what have you. But we were talking about options. People get freaked out over Out of the Park, and they say, "Oh, well, this looks easier because you have all this." But each one of these, if I click on Tools, now you have all these options under here. Right? Standings is just standings, big deal. And there you go. It gives you a little text format thing, which is nice. But up here, this is where it gets nuts. Look at this. Down here, generating default player. You can do a player search from here. Reports. Reports is where it gets really insane. So there's a lot going on in this one too, including internet play. I'd love to play somebody some internet sometime. So don't kid yourself. There's a lot going on here. By each version is poured out of the park or any game, but you still 22 mostly. Yeah, Out of the Park 23 was not my favorite. I think 24 is their best version. The other one that was excellent is both Out of the Park 20 and 21. They're both really good. Anything before that, meh. Although I do have Out of the Park 8 on here, which is free, and it's actually very good. And it's a nice, prettier version of Diamond Mine Baseball. Although I'm not sure if it's as accurate. Alright, guys. Much as I laughed at all the graphics, now you like them. I like the camera angles. Yeah, they're nice, aren't they? I like having the real player pictures. And if you guys have seen the work that Steve Tate has done in that Howie Shanks League that just ended, they're brilliant. Here's something else that's really fun for some customizability anyhow. So let's pick the Chicago Cubs and let's modify team. So I love this because I can just type C, start looking for the Cubs, and this is 1929, so there's their proper logo. Assign it, little window dressing. I can also put in, as you know, the managers and stuff like that, and home and away uniforms, which I really don't go that crazy. So this is nice. The other thing you can do, which is kind of cool, you can give the team its own font. And it will look like that, except it will also look in the field. So if I go here and maybe want something that's a little bit more old-timey, maybe I can do Book Antiqua and just click OK. Now, isn't that neat looking? And that's exactly how they'll look. So to get that old-time feel, this is new to Action PC 23, by the way, being able to change fonts and stuff like that. It all automatically gives you the proper manager, so you know who it is, and yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, Dave, I know this was a lot. I probably went through way more than you wanted, but at least you know the Indians work around, and yeah, I'm sorry about the, unfortunately it doesn't tell you all the time, right, what the player did last time. Most of the time it will, but you really do have to, I'm going to change that. That dark blue. I know it's a sin, but it's too hard to read that way. There we go. Yeah, I wish it did. And they could do that. So as you know, in a game, you mouse over. You guys have seen that. You can look at what's happened in an inning, what the batter did last time up, and all kinds of good stuff like that. Now I've set this up, now I'm going to do the 1929 World Series, which is a great one, by the way. It was a great one. Dave, if you're still here, I wanted to say thank you. Your streams, what you've been doing, not that your stuff hasn't been good before, it always has been, but your effort to really kind of foster more community involvement and things like that, and tackling some really tough subjects, and some of your broadcasts have done that, and also credit of course to Ron. I applaud you. I think that there's been a lot of kind of separation, polarization in the community, and I'm seeing with what you're doing, what Ron's doing, and a bunch of other people, right? You know, our Red Sox fan, of course, always. That there tends to be this cohesion in the community is kind of coming back together. And I'll be the first to admit, man, I've been a bit of a shit every once in a while in the past. That's kind of the way I can be sometimes. But I don't know whether you know this, man, but you've you've really done a lot of bringing people back together. I remember a time in this community, and I was still back home across the pond, and I remember every Sunday we would go on one of the Earls channels and we would play Apple Horse Racing, and it was just brilliant. Or everybody would be going to everybody else's broadcasts, and I'm noticing that again. Um, I don't come to all of yours because I don't know a lot about hockey, but I will come in. And then for the guys that are kind of newer here, like Bernard, they're coming in to a community now that's really coming back together. So thank you. As Big Clue says, don't encourage Ron Chuckett. So, oh yeah, what Ron and Dave do? I mean, come on, man. They've had John Gerson on there from APA. They've had Dave Cook on there. They get a lot of big names. Gilles Thibault has been on there. Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, but I have to say that I love that one, especially is it okay to not like a game? Man, that took some cojones. Yeah, Mark Cohen from Digital Diamond Baseball. Yeah, they did. Um, to be able to take on some of these things, is it okay to not like a game, or how do you replay certain seasons, or things like that, or being thankful for things. Dave, those are brilliant, and I keep going, man. It's awesome. It's great to stop in, chat, even if it's a sport I don't know. And there's another good guy here. Hey, Legends, how you doing, man? You got any baseball coming up today? As Clinton says, he has a 1914 season ready to go in Status Pro for Digital Diamond. So, Clinton, let me ask you a question. I know in Digital Diamond it has everything in Status Pro back to 1927. How did you get 1914 for that? I'm kind of curious. Uh-oh, Gary's blaspheming in my channel. Big Clue, do you see that? Right? Why does I know? I couldn't believe that. He asks the CEO, "Why doesn't Apple have sales?" I'm like, "Hey, hold on, guys. I'll be right back." All right, sounds like I'm back. Hey, hey, hey. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you. That was a real life that I had to take care of. So hopefully you hear me. You need another invite to the Discord server. Okay, let me see. I should have that for you here, Joe. I'm going to put 2 links in the chat. Hopefully one of these works. If you want to check while we're here. All right. Usually have Robbie Wartburg doing this stuff, but he's not here. So you might want to try that one. And then I'm going to give you another one. And hopefully one of these works. I don't see why they would have changed the Discord link. Okay, there you go, Joe. So, there's 9 people here. Should we do a ball game? What should we do here, folks? Or we can just close it off? That was a really, really long call. Clinton Parks says... Oh, I'm looking right now, Clinton. I didn't have a chance. I'm reading back how you do that, and actually need to go. Okay, so Clinton, because I was asking about how he got 1914 for Status Pro. He says every season involves a download of the season in another area. Okay, 1914 is his prize for because he always wanted to do 3 league seasons. And then we'll get back. Legends made some cool comments here I want to get back to. But if you scroll down when you want to add a season, they have more. Mark just doesn't have the lineups or some of the other stats. You have the lineups elsewhere. That's not bad. Yeah, Clinton, that really, really helps. Really, really helps. Legend Sports Universe says going forward would probably be the baseball, yay, consistently, but then rotating through the others, basketball, hockey, and F-ball as secondaries. Trying to run all 4 at once is just too much. Which is glad I'm just a baseball-only fan. Play ball. What should we play, Clinton Parks? Or Big Clue. You said play ball. What should we play? The links are invalid. All right. I'll get with Robbie Wartburg and get the new Discord link. Because if I go to it, let me see if I can get the straight-up Discord for it here. I don't know why that doesn't work for me. It's really stupid. It should. Let me see. Yeah, I don't have that link, which is really, really stupid. So, I will have to get that, Joe. Unless there's somebody else here in the Discord that wouldn't mind popping that to him. But, we'll get that to you, Joe, because it's really, there's a lot of stuff on there, and it's pretty fun. Clinton Park says he also doesn't use the Putner cards in Digital Diamond Baseball. Oh, you have your own stats that you got from Brian. Okay. Yeah, Bernard said those links are invalid, Joe, so I'm going to have to find Robbie Wartburg and see if he'll send me, because those are the ones he gave me, but I don't know what's going on with that. Big Clue, what game should we do here? What should we do? We're going to stay in Action PC Baseball, so. Oh, there it is. Okay. Big Clue, you're the man. Is that the one that I just put in here? No, it isn't. Okay. Let's just try that for Discord. Thank you. I'm going to copy that myself. I don't know why mine don't work. It's really weird. 1929 World Series? Yeah, sure. I'm all about the 1929 World Series. I love it. It's a great one. 2 of my favorite teams. Let's try this one. Try those links, guys. See if they work. Please, for our Discord. Then that way, the more people we have to keep Steve Tate in line, the better. Clinton Park says he's going to post a game tonight. It's Buffalo versus Baltimore. Nice. Looking forward to that, Clinton. All right, 1929 World Series. Let's do it. Why the hell not? All right. So this is going to be Grove versus Blake. I don't know if anybody feels like managing. If not, we'll just make Chicago the human team. Let's do this. Let's have fun. Alright, we need a versus lefty. And we'll just do it like that. Alright, let's have some fun. Let's play some baseball. Alright, welcome to Game 1 of this World Series 1929. It's going to be the Philadelphia Athletics against the Chicago Cubs. Lefty Grove gets the start for the Athletics, and Sheriff Blake for the Chicago Cubs. 58 degrees at game time. The wind speed 11 miles per hour out to left, and we have a late rain falling here in Chicago. And I've got to fix this ballpark really quickly. So if you ever run into this in Action PC Baseball, pretty simple. Go to Display. Go to Park Layout, and you can always, and I strongly suggest you do it, just to resize the window. And this is one of the Gary Grigsby parks, I believe. Hit Reset Labels, and that will set all your grandstands and stuff like that. Yep. Boom. And we'll get everything at least close. Then, pretty much, this is just doing this. Oh, look at this. We're going to... So the blue is the top of the fence, white is the bottom of the fence. And I don't even know why I'm explaining this. We have a lot of Action PC players in here anyhow, but just in case you didn't know. But I didn't know how many people knew about the Reset Labels trick. It really saves time. La da da. We should have some music going on here while this is happening, right? So these 1929 Philadelphia Athletics were amazing. 10 games. They finished 10 games in front of the New York Yankees. So you got to remember, this is finishing ahead of a Yankees team that in 1928 swept the Cardinals, and in 1927 swept the Pirates. So these guys were a juggernaut. 1929, 1930, 1931. Excellent A's team. And we're almost ready to go here. Let's get the catcher up there. And on deck road. Actually, I should do this a little differently, because back in the day, usually the home dugout was on the third base side, but we won't be too picky. All right, now we're ready to go. All right, Bing Miller will lead it off here. Sheriff Blake with a 4.29 earned average, 14 wins, 13 losses in 1929 with a save, 213 and 1/3 innings pitched, 109 walks, 70 strikeouts. The National League hit 293 against Blake in 1929. Bing Miller, a 331 average for the Mac men in 1929 with 8 home runs, 93 runs batted in. And 24 stolen bases. So we're underway here in Chicago. And the 2-2 coming now from Sheriff Blake to Bing Miller. And I got to move the catcher back up. This one grounded back to Hornsby, but a bad throw by Hornsby. Well, I'm sorry, Charlie Grimm knocking it down. But not able to get Bing Miller. Let me just fix this again. Idiot. I guess I forgot to move the, yeah, there's the catcher way back there. That was stupid. There we go. Let's put the catcher up here in the grandstands back there. I'm like, what's going on? All right, so Miller aboard at first for Black Mike, Mickey Cochran, Hall of Fame catcher, a 314 average, 7 home runs, 95 runs batted in for Cochran. Blake checks Miller at first. Miller with 24 steals last year. And he throws over, and Miller is back ahead of the Charlie Grimm tag. Blake brings it now. And there goes Bing Miller, throw down by Mickey Cochran. The tag not in time. Woody English just a bit late on that. And Bing Miller in scoring position. Mickey Cochran back in the box in the 0-1. Cochran swings in this changeup. This one grounded to Woody English at short, ranging far to his right. Long throw, and they get Cochran by a half step. Bing Miller remains in second. One down. We should look at the starting defense here for the Chicago Cubs. In left, Rig Stevenson. In center, Hack Wilson. Of course, in 1930, Hack Wilson would put up those crazy, crazy numbers near the hitter. In right field, Kai Kyler, equally great career with the Cubs and the Pirates. At first base, Charlie Grimm. At second, the Rogers Hornsby. At short, Woody English. At third, Norm McMillan. Catching is Zach Taylor. Got to find a picture for Zach. And, of course, Sheriff Blake on the mound. Here is the beast, Jimmy Fox. 354 average. 33 home runs, 118 runs batted in for Fox in 1929. Blake deals with one down. The 1-1 pitch to Jimmy Fox. Fastball swung on, popped high in the infield. McMillan makes the call and brings it in for out number 2, calling off Rig Stevenson coming in there from left. So 2 away, Bing Miller in scoring position for Bucketfoot Al Simmons. Simmons very much the Lou Gehrig on this team, as Fox was the Babe Ruth. Simmons overshadowed, but what a dangerous slugger he was. A 365 average for the A's in 1929, 34 home runs, 157 runs batted in for him. Sheriff Blake sets and delivers. Curveball. Simmons swings. This one chopped up the middle. Hornsby up with it onto Charlie Grimm, and that will retire the side. The Athletics strand one. We go to the bottom of the first inning here, and it's the A's nothing and the Chicago Cubs coming to bat. Starting defense for the Philadelphia A's, Al Simmons in left, Mule Haas in center, Bing Miller in right field from first to third around the horn, Jimmy Fox, Max Bishop, Joe Boley, Jimmy Dykes, Mickey Cochran, wearing the tools of ignorance and catching, and Robert Moses, Lefty Grove. Looking at Grove's numbers, a 2.81 earned on average, 20 wins, 6 losses, 4 saves. Grove worked 275 and 1/3 innings in 1929 for Connie Mack. Walked 81, struck out 170. The American League hit 256 against Grove. But if you normalize his stats back, he was every bit as dominant, a great strikeout pitcher as Rube Waddell. So Grove, one of the most dominant pitchers of his era, and I would say Grove easily one of the within the top 15 pitchers of all time. Grove ready to deal to Woody English, 276 average during the regular season, a home run, 52 runs batted in. English has some speed. Grove sets, and the 0-2 curveball. English swings, base hit up the middle, splitting Bishop and Boley, and Woody English aboard with the first hit of this game. Light rain continuing to fall here in the Windy City as Kai Kyler steps in. Supreme speed. A 360 average for Kyler in 1929. 15 home runs, 102 runs batted in, 43 steals. English leads off first. Grove checks the runner and sets the 1-0 to Kyler. Change up, this one chopped down to first. Jimmy Fox will wave off Lefty Grove and take it to the bag himself. Woody English moves into scoring position for the Cubs. One down for Rogers Hornsby. Hornsby hit 380 in 1929 with 39 home runs, 149 runs batted in. Lefty Grove fires it into the Raja. The 2-1 pitch, fastball swung on, grounded to third. Jimmy Dykes, the long throw across to Jimmy Fox, but in plenty of time to retire Hornsby for out number 2. English remains perched in scoring position at second. Rig Stevenson, if you go to Wrigley Field, good sense of history there in Chicago. You'll see a nice banner to Rig Stevenson. 362 average in 1929, 17 home runs, 110 runs batted in for him. Cochran sets the target. Lefty Grove sets and fires. The 1-0. Curveball to Stevenson. Base hit to left field. This one scorched to left. Simmons up with the ball. English rounding third. The throw to the plate will not be in time. And the Chicago Cubs draw first blood here in the bottom of the first. It's 1-0. And Because of the throwing error, Riggs Stevenson will make it all the way to third as this ball gets away from Mickey Cochran. So score that one an E7 on Al Simmons. Hack Wilson, 39 home runs, 159 runs batted in, a 345 average in 1929 for the barrel-chested, not always sober Hack Wilson. Lefty Grove working out of the stretch. The 0-1 curveball, and this one sent to shallow center field. Mulhaz has it in his glove for the out. 1 run, 2 hits, 1 error, 1 left. 1 in the books here in Game 1 of this 1929 alternate World Series replay. Chicago Cubs 1 and the Philadelphia Athletics nothing. And hopefully, yes, one of the most intense pitchers in the game, says Clinton Parks, is absolutely right. When he would lose a game, he was known to rip up locker rooms, rip into other players, but also to his credit would also blame himself when he screwed up. But apparently Lefty Grove had a legendary bad temper, so you wouldn't want to get on his bad side, and overpowering. All right, Jimmy Dykes. Here's a player that I think is at least Hall of Very good. Jimmy Dykes, 327 average, 13 home runs, 79 runs batted in. I'd take Jimmy Dykes on a modern roster with those numbers. Sheriff Blake deals the 1-2 pitch, curveball, and Dykes lines this one over the head of Rogers Hornsby into center field for a base hit. Hack Wilson has it, and that's the first hit for the Philadelphia A's. Bernard says that the link is valid. I think they changed the name. It's not Ned. There should just be a baseball. Big Clue says, good thing he didn't pitch for the Senators. Yeah, you needed an easy-going guy like Walter Johnson. All right, Mulhaz now bats with Jimmy Dykes at first. Dykes just 8 steals in 1929. Zach Taylor, average arm behind the plate. George Blake has the sign from Taylor. And here he throws over, and Jimmy Dykes dives back, and just back, ahead of the Charlie Grimm tag at first. Haas back in the box. Sheriff Blake brings it home. The 0-1 fastball. This one, nice bunt, but Zach Taylor heads up play, goes to Woody English. Woody English unable to get to that ball, and the throwing error is going to allow Haas to reach first, and Dykes, who is off with the pitch, gets to second base on the E2. So 2 aboard, nobody out. Dykes at second, Mulhaz at first for Max Bishop. Light-hitting second baseman, a 232 average for Mac back in 1929. 3 home runs, 36 runs batted in. Here is the pitch, the 0-1. Max Bishop bunts this one in the air, and this is one of those real fun little things they need to fix in the chalkboard on Action PC. Grimm going for the ball in foul territory and makes the catch. So the pop out of Max Bishop will now bring up Joe Foley. 2 on for the A's, 1 down. Foley, a 251 hitter. 2 home runs, 47 runs batted in for him. Jimmy Dykes in second, and Mulhaz at first. Sheriff Blake with the 2-0 delivery to Boley. Changeup, and this one will stay on the infield. Hornsby ranging under it and makes the catch. So Philadelphia threatening, but Sheriff Blake making the pitches that he needs to make. Lefty Grove, a pretty good hitting pitcher. 216 average in 1929, a home run, 15 runs batted in. Blake delivers full count to Grove, and this one, hard chopper to second, and Hornsby with a quick release onto Charlie Grimm to retire the A's. So Philadelphia threatens but do not score. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 left, and 1.5 here in the books in Chicago, and it's the Cubs 1 and the Athletics nothing. Charlie Grimm will start it off. Grimm, a 298 hitter, 10 home runs, 91 runs batted in. Lefty Grove with the 0-2 delivery to Grimm. Fastball, Grimm turns on this one. 2 hopper to second, Max Bishop with the toss on to Jimmy Fox. 1 up, 1 down. Zach Taylor now, the catcher, 274 average, a home run, 31 runs batted in. We go back to the second. We'll be back at the, or back to the third. We'll be at the top of the Philadelphia order again. Still looking to get through the Chicago order the first time. Grove brings it. Zach Taylor on the 0-2. Come back to the mound. Grove off to his left. And shuttles on to Jimmy Fox. So 2 up, 2 down for the third baseman, Norm McMillan. A .271 average for McMillan with 5 home runs, 55 ribbies. Grove brings it, the 2-0. This one chopped to second, and it's going to be Hornsby to Fox. That retires the side. 1, 2, 3. Go the Cubs. We go to the third. Still 1-0. All right, back to game action here. And we're back at the top of the order, Big Miller. And Miller grounded to short, but was safe in a throwing error back in the first. Sheriff Blake into that windup. Here's the 0-2. Miller sends this up the first base line. Charlie Grimm will take this one 3 unassisted. Game moving along really quickly here. 1 down. Mickey Cochran grounded to Woody English at short. Lefty catcher stands in. Sheriff Blake's 3-2. Change up. This one missing. This one up and in. So don't know whether Sheriff Blake was trying to do a little bit of head hunting, but with a change up, probably just a little message trying to establish the plate. The Beast is 0 for 1. Popped to third. Blake deals to him. And there goes Mickey Cochran, to throw down by Zach Taylor, and Mickey Cochran has the base pilfered. Tying run in scoring position for the Athletics. 1 down. The 0-1 pitch to the ever-dangerous Jimmy Fox. And this changeup missing low, and 2 on, and it doesn't get much easier with Al Simmons coming to the plate. Simmons grounded out in the first. 2 on for Philadelphia. Blake looking for a double play here. The 2-2 pitch to Simmons. Curveball. Simmons swings this one up the middle. Hornsby to English to Grimm for the 4-6-3 inning-ending double play. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left. We go to the bottom of the third inning, and the Cubs still lead 1-0 here in Game 1 of this 1929 Alternate World Series. Sheriff Blake, switch-hitting pitcher, will lead it off, and then back at the top of the order with Woody English and Kai Kyler. Blake, not as good of a hitting pitcher as Lefty Grove, 173 average with 4 runs batted in for him. Hope you guys are enjoying this little 1929 action. Lefty Grove lets it go. Blake swings in the first pitch. Hard liner to Jimmy Dykes, who sets and fires on to Jimmy Fox. Great play by Dykes over there. Was positioned perfectly. Back at the top of the order now. And Woody English opened the Chicago first with a single up the middle. The 2-0 pitch. English turns on this one and grounded to first, and Fox will hurry on to fire, or to underhand toss to Lefty Grove, covering at first for the 3-1 putout. 2 away here for Kai Kyler. I know a lot of people say the pronounce Kiki. I did for years, but after doing some research, his last name is Kyler, and yeah, it's Kai. Still feels weird to say it. Grove deals now. Kyler on the first pitch, and this one laced to left, base hit. So Kyler aboard, and definitely a threat to steal as Rogers Hornsby steps in now. Grove needing to bear down here. The Raja grounded to third back in the first. The throw over, Kyler back safely. Hornsby would not go to movies. Felt it would hurt his batting eye. Hornsby also had this weird thing about staring at a candle. Also said about golf, he says, I don't want to play golf. When I hit a ball, I want others to chase it. And certainly many fielders chased hits from the Raja. Second highest batting average in baseball, just behind Ty Cobb and just ahead of Shoeless Joe Jackson. So power and speed and contact from Hornsby. And a pretty damn fine second baseman, so really a 5-tool player. The 1-0 to Hornsby, and Hornsby sends this to right field. Big Miller over toward the line will make the catch in right field. Side retired. No runs, 1 hit, no errors. And we've played 3 here at Wrigley Field. And it's Chicago 1, Philadelphia nothing. Joe Murdy is into the Discord. Big Clue, thank you very much. I copied that proper one, so I appreciate you very much. All right, welcome to the Discord, Joe. It's pretty much anything baseball. Action PC, other games you're playing, cards and dice, whatever, you are welcome in. You'll see Clinton will occasionally put some box scores up there, and belongs to a great Facebook group that I've got to get some box scores up on, finally. Jimmy Dykes, 1 for 1. So it will be Dykes, Haas, and Bishop due up for Philadelphia here in the 4th. Blake deals to Dykes, who is 1 for 1. 0-2 pitch, and this one's going to go for extra bases. This one a laser shot in the corner and left here at Wrigley Field. Dykes is going for 2. Stevenson up with it. Hornsby receives the throw, the tag of Jimmy Dykes, not in time. So Jimmy Dykes with a great hook slide there. And he is in scoring position. So Philadelphia is threatened through this game, but Sheriff Blake been able to get himself out of it. And here's Mule Haas. He was safe on an error back in the 2nd. Dykes leads off 2nd. Blake delivers. And Haas swings. This one just chopped to 1st. Charlie Grimm will fire on to Rogers Hornsby covering on that wheel play. And Jimmy Dykes will move to 3rd. So Philadelphia just 90 feet away from the tying run as Max Bishop comes in now. Popped a bunt last time. Blake from the stretch in the 2-2 to Max Bishop, and Max Bishop swinging at a bad pitch, expanding the strike zone for Sheriff Blake. That's his first K of the game, and Joe Boley now in the box. Popped to 2nd. So Sheriff Blake doing a good job keeping these Athletics bats quiet. All right, Blake taking the practice cut, now in the box. Blake, the 3-2 pitch to Boley, and this one missing high and outside. So runners at the corners, Lefty Grove will try to help his own cause here. Philadelphia managing only 2 hits off of Sheriff Blake in 3 2/3. Blake brings it now to Lefty Grove, the 1-0. Grove swings. This one, a 2-hopper to short. Woody English on to Charlie Grimm, and once again, the Philadelphia Athletics are turned away. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, 2 left. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. The Cubs holding on to a 1-0 lead. Riggs Stevenson will lead it off. Philadelphia would win this World Series, the actual 1929 World Series. Stevenson, RBI single back in the 1st, scoring Woody English. Lefty Grove with the 1-2 delivery. Stevenson swings, base hit left field. This one just under the glove of shortstop Joe Boley. So Stevenson aboard. Stevenson with 10 steals in 1929. Hack Wilson, fly to shallow right bat last time up. Grove with a check of the runner. The 0-2 delivery to Hack Wilson. Fastball and strike 3 called. So not what Hack Wilson was looking for. 1 down in this pitcher's duel here. As Charlie Grimm steps in, he grounded to 2nd. Stevenson leads off 1st again. Grove checks the runner. The 3-1. Fastball. Fly ball to left center. This one has depth, but Mule Haas just short of the wall, making the catch. Stevenson thought about 2nd, but great play out there in left field. So 2 down. Stevenson at 1st for Zach Taylor. Grounded back to Lefty Grove his last time up. Grove brings it, the 1-2, fastball. Zach Taylor laces one to left, base hit. So 2 aboard. Here come the Cubs now. The Cubbies with 5 hits in this game. And Norm McMillan will have a go. Last time up, he grounded to 2nd. Stevenson at 2nd. Taylor on at 1st. Runners into their lead with 2 down. Grove with the 1-2. And this curveball chopped up the middle. Bishop will go to Joe Boley to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. 4 in the books in this pitcher's duel. It's Chicago 1, Philadelphia nothing. And this was one of the nice things I talked about in Action PC Baseball. Hover over any inning up here and you see exactly what happened. And then down here, as Dave Gardner was asking about out of the park baseball, I wish it had this. I just hover over Bing Miller's name, and I see that he grounded to second, was safe on a throwing error in the first, and grounded to first back in the third. What a brilliant addition that is. I love it. And this has been an Action PC as long as I've been playing it, since 2017. All right. Sheriff Blake with a 3-1 fastball. And this one sky to center. Wilson back on this ball and makes the catch. So a big loud out. 1 up, 1 down here for Black Mike. So Cochran grounded to short, walked into third, and had a stolen base. Blake deals to him. First pitch swinging. Cochran sends this curveball into foul territory in the right-hand side. Charlie Grimm over toward the seats. Makes the catch for out number 2. So Blake right now working on a 2-hitter. Jimmy Fox, nothing for 1. Fox walked back in the third. Blake deals the 1-1. Fox fouls this one on the right-hand side. This one will make the seats. Count even, or 1-2 now on Double X. Fox predated Ted Kluszewski in actually cutting off the sleeves in his uniform. Pitcher Lefty Gomez of the Yankees lamented about Jimmy Fox that even his hair had muscles. Big guy, could hit the ball a ton. 1-2 pitch. And this one missing, so Fox draws the walk on 2 outs. And here's Al Simmons. So these 3, 4, and 5 hitters, the weapon for these Philadelphia Athletics so far, not really able to solve Sheriff Blake. 4th walk given up by Blake. Here's the 1-2, Simmons. And this one, a swing and a miss. D-right 3, second strikeout for Sheriff Blake. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 5th inning. And the score remains Chicago 1, Philadelphia nothing. This game turning out to be quite the surprise here. Sheriff Blake, and then Woody English and Kai Kyler. Blake nothing for 1, grounded to third, last time up. Grove with a 1-2 delivery, and Blake chased one, the 1-2 pitch, so that is out of the strike zone, and strikeout number 2 for Grove. Joe Murdy says, always thought of him as I'd forgotten that Rogers Hornsby played some with the Cubs later in his career. Always thought of him as a Cardinal. I'm the same way. I identify him more as a Cardinal. Frankie Frisch, though, so Frankie Frisch, we're not seeing him in this game, obviously, but Frisch is one of those players that he could be a New York Giant or a St. Louis Cardinal, Kyler, a Cub, or a Pirate, and really Hornsby. I think he had his better years with St. Louis, but certainly not shabby at all against Chicago. But yeah, when I think Rogers Hornsby, I automatically think Cardinals. In fact, when I do an all-time franchise league that somebody else has made, the first teams I check are the Cubs, Cardinals for Hornsby, and the Giants and Cardinals for Frankie Frisch, and Chicago and Pittsburgh for Kyler. Those 3 players. And then if you get Wee Willie Keeler, forget it, man. He could be on 4 different teams. All right, Grove deals the 1-2 pitch. English swings. A little bounder up the first base line. Fox will go to Grove to retire Woody English. So 2 up, 2 down here for Kai Kyler. Kyler 1 for 2. Singled back in the third. And the 1-2. Kyler swings. Routine fly ball to left. Down into the glove of Al Simmons. So side retired. No runs, no hits, no errors. We've played 5 here in Chicago, and it is 1-0. In terms of broadcasting games, this one's easier for a lot of reasons than Out of the Park's faster. And you got to remember who's where, and if you have some outlier player, forget it. So, and plus having all these nice little features here really make Action PC also gives it the edge. But I do like the real-time action of Out of the Park. So, all right, Jimmy Dykes is 2 for 2. And here's the 0-2 pitch from Blake. Curveball to Dykes. Fly ball shallow center. Wilson running in and making the catch. 1 away. So Blake continues pitching a 2-hitter. And we'll look at his pitching line when we get closer to the 7th. Emil Haas. He has bunted out twice. Actually, the second time a sacrifice. The 0-2 delivery. Haas turns on this one. Fly to right. This one high. This one deep. And Kyler making the leaping grab at the fence for out number 2. Christopher Slovic. He says, great to see everyone here. Great to see you, Christopher. Yeah, Joe Murray talking about Rogers Hornsby said, yeah, when he hit 424, he was with the Cardinals in 1922. Great player, Hornsby, huh? I'd like to look on Baseball Reference and see where he ranks among second basemen. Got to be pretty high if you're Rogers Hornsby. There's Gary Sorrell in here with us. Again, saw Gary earlier. Blake deals. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Max Bishop. Curveball. Chopper to second. And a quick snap by Rogers Hornsby. And that will retire the side. No runs, no hits, no errors. We go to the bottom of the 6th inning. And it's still 1-0. When we talk about Hornsby, here he is. Hornsby, nothing for 2. A ground out and a fly out. Grove deals to him. The 0-2. Hornsby cuts on this curveball. Fly ball center field. Haas has it in his sights and camps under it and brings it down. 1 out here now as left fielder Riggs Stevenson. Perfect 2 for 2 at the plate today, including an RBI back in the 1st. Grove's delivery. Full count on Stevenson. Fastball. This one missing. Outside. And Stevenson aboard. That's the first walk issued by Grove. So neither pitcher dominant in terms of strikeouts, letting their defense do the work for them. Grove has scattered 5 hits, but with 1 run. And Sheriff Blake, 2 hits, and that's it. 1 Philadelphia error, 2 by Chicago. Philly has stranded 7. The Cubs have stranded 4. Stevenson into his leadoff of first. The 3-1. This fastball missing, and Grove looking frustrated out there on the mound now. This one just missing high. He wanted that call, and he is glaring at that umpire. Charlie Grimm now. Nothing for 2. Cubs 2 on, 1 out. Grove looking double play here. Cochran out to have a quick word with him, going over the signs. Full count to Charlie Grimm. Here's the pitch. And Grimm looks at a called strike 3. That curveball just in at the belt. So 2 down, and Grove looking to pick himself out of a little bit of a pickle here as catcher Zach Taylor's in there, singled back in the 4th. The 1-0 to Taylor. Fastball, and this one line to right for extra bases, and to score will be Stevenson. Wilson comes around to score. So Zach Taylor picking up the 2 RBI double, and now Chicago cushioning its lead. It's 3-0 here in the bottom of the 6th. As Norm McMillan strides to the plate, grounded out twice. 2 away. Grove's delivery. The runner in scoring position. Taylor was on the move there. And shortstop Joe Boley up with it on to Jimmy Fox to retire the side. But 2 Chicago runs, 1 hit, no errors. 6 in the books here at Wrigley. And the Chicago Cubs 3, the Philadelphia A's nothing. Looking at Sheriff Blake's pitching line here in the 7th. 6 innings pitched, 2 hits, 4 walks, 2 strikeouts. Looking strong out there. Joe Boley walked back in the 4th. The 1-2 from Blake. Joe Boley not able to catch up to that little twirl there by Sheriff Blake. 1 away. Lefty Grove, nothing for 2. 2 ground outs. 3-1 pitch. This one missing. So Grove on base for the first time. No steals for him. Back at the top of the order now for Bing Miller. 1 away. Blake with a 2-1. Miller swings in this curve. Base hit. Right field. Kyler having trouble coming up with that and coming around to score. Is Lefty Grove. So Philadelphia finally gets on the board, and that's an RBI triple for Bing Miller. So Philadelphia looking to cut into this lead a little bit more here as Black Mike Mickey Cochran is in there 0 for 2 with a walk back in the third. Blake from the stretch in the 3-2. Cochran, change up, this one missing. That is the 6th walk issued by Sheriff Blake. You don't want to play with fire too much. Here is Jimmy Fox. Jimmy Fox has popped a third and he has walked twice. See if Blake tries to pitch around him from the stretch. Bing Miller at third, Cochran at first. The 1-1 to Double X. Fastball down the line to right. Kyler with great range over there makes the catch. Tagging and scoring is Bing Miller. And Philadelphia within striking distance. It is now 3-2 here in the top of the 7th. Al Simmons will have a go now. Simmons grounded out twice and once into a double play and struck out. Mickey Cochran has a steal in this game. Blake with a check of the runner. Here's the 3-0 to Simmons. And curveball missing. So could it be falling apart here for Sheriff Blake with 2 Philadelphia runs in? And Jimmy Dykes to the plate now. Dykes 2 for 3. Blake with a check of the runners. From the set, up. Zach Taylor out to have a quick word. Full count on Jimmy Dykes. Here is the pitch. Fastball. And this one missing. So Blake's starting to get a little bit of wildness here now, and he walks him loaded. And Emil Haas steps to the plate. Emil Haas was safe on an error in the second. Bunted out to first in a sacrifice, and then fly to very deep right center. And we have a new pitcher, Carol Yerkes. We'll talk about him in a minute. The 0-1 on its way. We do have a rain delay now, and shows that Grove and Blake are tired. So Blake is going to have to go out. Oh my goodness gracious, not a lot to choose from here in Chicago with these pitchers. What inning are we in? We are in the top of the 7th, huh? Bases loaded. I've got to bring in the guy with the lowest chance of giving up a hit. So we'll bring in Ken Penner, I suppose. Yeah, same with Mickey Cochran, right? As Joe Murdy says, Cochran, they always considered as more of a Tiger for whatever reason. Thought he played with them for a while. Yeah, he definitely was. Definitely a Detroit Tiger. But again, time with the A's. Shoeless Joe Jackson, right? Cleveland and Chicago. That's why the players who just played for one team their entire career, or almost their entire career, like Cobb, Clemente, Stargell, Wagner. I love those guys because you don't have to. It's like, yeah, good. But when you're making choices for some of these players, it's like, all right, do I want Black Mike as a Tiger or an Athletic? I mean, these are big choices, right? Although I should probably see what that Now Taking the Field book says about these guys. All right. Anyhow, bases loaded. And looking at Ken Penner's numbers here, a 284 average, no wins, 1 loss, 12 2/3 pitched, 6 walks, 3 strikeouts. The National League hit 280 against Penner in 1929. His job is to get Mule Haas. The 1-2 pitch, Haas swings, fly ball to right, Kyler has it for the out. 7th inning stretch time, it's Chicago 3, Philadelphia 2. All right, thanks, guys. And we're back bottom of the seventh inning now, and Carol Yerkes will come in and relief. So after that long rain delay, both starters gone. Sheriff Blake out and Lefty Grove out. So Carol Yerkes, a 4.58 earned run average. 1 win, no losses, a save, 37 1/3 pitched, 13 walks, 11 strikeouts. The American League feasted a bit on Carol Yerkes. 315 against him with a 1.607 whip. But the ace didn't get it done. Maybe he will. Ken Penner will not bat, obviously. All right. Pretty easy choice here for Chicago. We're going to go with Cliff Heathcote, who had some time with Cleveland, as I recall. All right, so Heathcote, a 313 average in 1929 with 2 home runs, 31 runs batted in. So it will be for the Chicago Cubs, Heathcote, English, and Kyler. 3-2 your score. Carol Yerkes with the 2-2 pitch to Heathcote. Change up, this one, long fly ball to left, but back on it is bucket foot Al Simmons to make the catch. One away here. Woody English, 1 for 3. Singled, and he is grounded to first twice. Yerkes deals. English, first pitch, curveball. This one played shallow at second by Max Bishop for the 4-3 putout. 2 up, 2 down. And number 2 hitter, Kyler up now. Kyler 1 for 3. Carol Yerkes with the 2-0. Curveball, and this one hard comebacker to the mound, and Yerkes fielding it beautifully to retire the speedy Kyler. No runs, no hits, no errors. We've played 7 here in Chicago, and it's Chicago 3, Philadelphia 2, and we need a pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. Let's bring in let's bring in Trader Home. So Heathcote, or did he either played for Cleveland or St. Louis Browns, as well as these Cubs. Pretty sure. All right, looking at Trader Horn here, a 5.09 earned run average. He was 1-1 with 23 innings pitched, 21 walks, only 6 strikeouts, but a 273 average against him, so a little bit better. Horn delivers. Here's the 1-1 to Max Bishop. Fastball, high fly ball to right center. Wilson has it, smacking against the fence out there. No ivy or anything yet here in Wrigley Field. So Joe Boley will have a shot now with 1 down. Boley has popped, walked, and struck out. Horn delivers. The 2-2 pitch. Boley grounded to short. Woody English sets, double pumps, and fires. Over to Charlie Grimm for the 6-3 putout. 2 up and 2 down now for Carol Yerkes. We'll see whether Connie Mack will go with a pinch hitter for Yerkes. Indeed, he does. It's Homer Suma. Suma swings fastball, grounded to first. Charlie Grimm will take it to the bag unassisted to retire the side. And the new pitcher coming in, Ozzie Orwell, now coming in to pitch for the Philadelphia Athletics, a 4.80 earned run average. No wins, 2 losses, a save, 30 innings pitched, 6 walks, 12 strikeouts. 269 American League average against him. Rogers Hornsby, Rig Stevenson, and Hack Wilson due up here in the bottom of the 8th for the Chicago Cubs. Orville deals the 2-2, and Hornsby lines this one to center field. Hornsby tearing around first, and he will be in there with a stand-up double. So Chicago looking to pad this 3-2 lead here in the 8th. As Rig Stevenson comes to the plate, 2 for 2 and a walk. Stevenson with an RBI back in the first. Orville delivers the 0-1 to Stevenson. Fastball swung on, chopped foul on the right-hand side. The count 0-2 now on Stevenson. Back in the box, a little Little look there at Riggs. There he is. And the 0-2 pitch, base hit left field, and rounding third is Hornsby, but they flash the stop sign. Al Simmons with the quick throw back into the infield. Runners at the corners for Chicago, nobody out, and here's Hack Wilson, a swing of the bat, and he puts it out of reach. Wilson, however, 0 for 2 with a walk, only got the ball out of the infield once, and that was just shallow right center. Here is the delivery from Orwell. Curveball, bouncer back to the mound. On to Max Bishop covering. Stevenson will move to second. Hornsby will hold third. So manager Joe McCarthy, not wanting to risk sending Hornsby, kind of a questionable decision there by Marsh McCarthy. Charlie Grimm now. Nothing for 3. Rogers Hornsby at third, Riggs Stevenson at second. Orval sets in the 3-1 out of the stretch. Fastball to Grimm, this one chopped to short. Boley will go to Fox for the out, but coming in to score is Rogers Hornsby, and Riggs Stevenson makes third on this play, and Chicago tallies one here in the bottom of the 8th to go ahead now 4-2. Zach Taylor batting with Stevenson just 90 feet away at third. And Taylor, pretty good day at the plate for him. He is 2 for 3. Singled back in the 4th, and an RBI double, 2 RBI doubles, scoring Riggs Stevenson and Hack Wilson. And that was back in the 6th. Cochran sets the target, Orval from the stretch, and the 3-2. And they're going to intentionally walk Zach Taylor to get to third baseman Norm McMillan, who is nothing for 3. Taylor, no speed at first. From the stretch, Orval's 0-2 delivery. Fly ball to left, and backpedaling on this and making the catch is Al Simmons. And we go to the 9th inning. And Christopher wishing everybody a happy 4th. Same to you, bud. Yeah, Shoeless Joe actually was a Cleveland Indian, and then went on to the Chicago White Sox. And then out of baseball, unfortunately. In fact, for a lot of not so well done all-time great franchises, you'll see Jackson on the Indians as well as the White Sox. All right, it will be the top of the order for Philadelphia to try to catch these Cubs here in the 9th. Bing Miller, Mickey Cochran, and Jimmy Fox. So, big RBI triple for Bing Miller back in the 7th. It scored Lefty Grove. And at that time, that was Philadelphia's first run. And Mike Svengross comes in to pitch. We'll talk about him in a second. The lefty deals. Long fly ball to left. Back on it goes Riggs Stevenson. So the southpaw, Mike Svengross, comes on for Chicago here in the 9th. A 4.64 under-run average. 5 wins, 4 losses, 2 saves. 64 innings pitched. 29 walks, 23 strikeouts, a .319 average in the National League against Mike Svengross in 1929. Here's Black Mike now. He's walked twice, grounded to short, and popped to first. Svengross steals the 2-1. And this one sent airmail to left field, and Riggs Stevenson, nice catch. That ball starting to drift back a little bit. So can Jimmy Fox make some noise here in the top of the 9th, 2 out, or will Chicago take a 1-0 lead in this best-of-7 World Series replay? Fox 2 walks, a pop out, and a sacrifice has scored Bing Miller back in the 7th. Svengross steals to Fox. First pitch swinging on this fastball, hard ground ball to first. Charlie Grimm takes it 3 unassisted, and a nice roar going up among the Chicago Cub faithful here at Wrigley as the Cubs take Game 1, 4-2. Highlights for the Philadelphia Athletics. Jimmy Dykes goes 2 for 3 with a double. For the Chicago Cubs, catcher Zach Taylor 2 for 3, 2 runs batted in. Riggs Stevenson a perfect 3 for 3 at the plate. Lefty Grove takes the loss, goes to 0-1. Sheriff Blake gets the win. He goes to 1-0. For the Athletics, 2-3-1. For the Cubbies, 4-8-2. let me see. Only one triple in this game, and that was by Big Miller. A double by Jimmy Dykes for Philadelphia. For Chicago, 2 doubles in the game. One by Hornsby, one by Zach Taylor. Let's look at pitching. So Lefty Grove, not terribly sharp today. Went 6 innings. Surrendered 6 hits, 3 runs, all earned. Walked 2, struck out only 3. So Lefty Grove with a 4.50 earned run average to start this 1929 World Series. Carol Yerkes worked an inning in relief. And then Orval came in and also worked an inning in relief, had 1 earned run and walked 1. For the Chicago Cubs, Sheriff Blake gets the win. 6 2/3 worked, 3 hits, 2 runs, both earned. Walked 8, struck out 3, so starts the series with a 2.70 earned run average. Penner worked a third of an inning, did his job. Horn worked an inning, and Sven-Gross picks up the save, his first. And let's look at who the MVP is in this Game 1. And it is indeed Zach Taylor, and the game-winning RBI, Rig Stevenson. So there we go. That's Game 1. You're welcome, Bernard. Grove will be tossing things and people. Yep. He'll be tossing all kinds of things. Chicago got Shoeless Joe in a trade. Yep, started in Philly. Let's look at Jackson really quickly before we get out of here. The great Shoeless Joe. Now, if this was out of the park, I could just bring up Shoeless Joe Jackson out of the park baseball. But, it is what it is, right? Make sure this moved over where it's supposed to be. No. Yep, there we go. Shoeless Joe Jackson. So Jackson, a brief stint, really only got 5 games in each with the Philadelphia Athletics. Then he played for Cleveland from 1910, and then in 1915, in a trade, he goes to the White Sox and finishes out his career with the White Sox. So Jackson, again, you can clearly see if you look at his lifetime, or just look at his stats here. Probably a little bit more black going on here with Cleveland, which is why I think a lot of all-time great franchises tend to put Jackson with Cleveland. However, he put up some pretty respectable numbers here with Chicago as well, including leading the league twice in triples. Total bases, which really isn't a stat I guess we pay attention to very much anymore, but what could have been, huh? Check one more thing. I was asking about Hornsby and where he ranked all-time as a second baseman. Let's find out. I mean, just look at these numbers. Like, he's first in WAR position players. From what, 1917? All right, so from 1917 to 1922, he's first in WAR among position players. Then takes a break in 1923 from that, leading the league. Comes back in the National League 24, 25, and then 27, 28, 1929, just career. So he's all-time 9th among position players for WAR. For offensive WAR, he is 10th all-time. Of course, we already know that he's batting average, although why did they put him third? He is not third. Did Baseball Reference make a mistake? That's weird. Let me open this in a new tab. This is strange. Oh, okay, because they're counting Oscar Charleston. So they're starting to count Negro Leagues. That's cool. So Hornsby drops to third, Jackson drops to fourth, as Oscar Charleston with the second highest batting average in baseball behind Ty Cobb. So that's why. So cool, way to go. Look at that, on-base percentage, slugging percentage, on-base plus first. Jeez. Runs scored, hits. Hornsby was a beast. Wasn't he a beast? I mean, we know that. I want to try to see, though, where he ranks among second basemen. Wow. So his black ink, he's fifth all time in batting at 125. The average Hall of Famer is 27. His gray ink is 329. So he's fifth in black ink all time. 11th in gray ink with 329. The average Hall of Famer 144. As a hitter, his Hall of Fame monitor is ninth all time with a score of 350. The average Hall of Famer, or likely Hall of Famer, will get 100 on that. There we go. Second base, he is first all time in career WAR with 127.1, 73.9, 7-year peak WAR. His Jaws 100.5. God, this guy is just crazy. Just crazy, 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 crazy. I'm trying to see where he ranks. I forget how to check that now. Among all second basemen. And there it is. So Hornsby ranked the greatest second baseman of all time. Modern player that any of us would have seen play would be Joe Morgan. Wow. Good stuff. How about if you're talking about Rogers Hornsby? Absolutely. Just crazy. Just crazy. Closest to him would Eddie Collins, then Napoleon Lajoie. Wow. Crazy stuff, guys. All right, well, thank you. I'm glad you guys had some time. It's a good time. Check out Legend Sports Universe, Bernard Strom, Sports Replays, excellent channels. Thanks to Big Clue, Awesome Dude, and Heretic. Clinton Parks, our professor. Joe Murdy, big fan of old-time baseball. Gary Sorrell. Game 163 at noon. Perfect. Good, good, good. Getting out of here. In a half hour, I'll be tuning in. Looking forward to it, Legends. Christopher Slovic, incredible broadcaster. And one of the other Bucko fans in here. So, guys, do please subscribe to these channels. They are excellent. Welcome to Joe Murdy into our Discord, and also to Bernard. And everybody, do check out Bernard. He just started in 15 April, and it seems like he's been broadcasting forever. Does a great job. Arnold Hunter doesn't find he doesn't find Out of the Park user friendly. I get it. I get it. Totally get it. Gary, did I say your name? I'll say it again. Gary Sorrell, thank you. We're making him Italian now. He's Gary Sorelli now. Aaron Reed. Thanks, Aaron. All right, guys. Legend Sports Universe at noon. This is going to be a big one. And there's a reason why he's calling it a Game 163. So, check it out. Done on MLB The Show 22. These are custom. It's like it's a league that Legends is doing, Franchise Stars Baseball League. And so each season these teams get draws, like drafts. And it's incredible. The players that aren't in there yet, just as incredible as the players who are. As long as it has an avow. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, Gary. Molto bene. But do check it out, guys. It's a lot of fun. He calls the games. You don't have to listen to Jambi and Singleton. And Legends calls a very, very good baseball game. I think you'll enjoy it, and that's coming up at noon. Legend Sports Universe. Some excellent baseball for your workday. And if you're off today, kick back and watch and listen. It's truly immersive the way Legends does it. You're welcome, man. You're absolutely welcome. All right, guys. See you round the batting cage. And thank you for hanging out, and sorry for that long pause today earlier.